So she'd be the best commander-in-chief, and everybody knows that. And if you look at the votes in Texas and Ohio and Rhode Island, that's one of the big reasons she won. And it was really interesting. The more people got to thinking about what they really wanted in a president, the better she did. The people that decided in the last 2 days in the Texas primary voted 61 to 38 for Hillary for president. So that's my first argument. It's not just about military. You know, she believes that there are very few problems in the world we can solve on our own. You think about it. Terrorism, nuclear materials, global warming, global epidemics, immigration flows where you've got people coming in here who want to be part of organized crime units or drug dealers or any of this stuff. We can't deal with these on our own. We have to have cooperation. So she wants to say to the world, look, we're not going to act like there's one set of rules for us, another set for others anymore. We're going to cooperate with you whenever we can and act alone only when we have to, not the other way around. We're going to have diplomacy with friend and foe alike, and military force will be used only as a last resort, not the other way around. This is very important. And her experience is not confined to the many trips she's taken to Afghanistan, Iraq, and the work she's done in the armed services today. Let me remind you, she represented the United States in over 80 other countries when I was president. And I can't go anywhere in the world, and I work in more than 70 other countries. I can't go anywhere without somebody coming up to me and mentioning something Hillary did that helped their people, that helped America, that they helped their side. Not very long ago, the leaders of the new government of Northern Ireland came to Washington. Because you may remember this, but we made peace in Northern Ireland in 1998. It ended the longest civil conflict in modern European history. A good thing. But it took them 9 long years to implement every provision of that peace agreement. So in 2007, they came back to the White House because they wanted to thank the President and thank America for what we've done to help them make the peace. They only asked to see one other person. They asked to see Hillary, to thank her for the independent role she played when I was president in helping them make peace. That's what she wanted in the President of the United States. So that's my first case. The second case I want to make is something Keyshawn referred to, and that is this country's in a fix. We just had the biggest job loss last month we've had in 5 years. Last quarter of last year, we had the largest number of homes foreclosed on in modern history. We had a terrible economic problem here because wages are flat and the cost of health care has doubled, the cost of college education up 75%, gasoline's through the roof, food's going up at twice the rate of inflation. I have people telling me for the first time since 1992 now that they're having to watch what they buy at the grocery store or they won't be able to afford their medicine. So basically, you have a meltdown of the middle class, and it's harder for poor people to work their way into it. Now, if you compare where we are now with where we were in the 90s, and I don't do that to say we should go back, but you got to have that. There's a reason they teach history in schools. There's a reason that history is taught, is so you make fewer mistakes going forward. These people have a failed economic theory. Their idea of trickle-down economics, that if you just give tax cuts to enough millionaires and billionaires, well, all the rest of us will be fine, has not worked very well. Now look where we are. In the 1990s, we had 22.9 million new jobs. In this decade, just 5 million. In the 1990s, you had almost 8 million people moving their way from poverty up into the middle class, the American dream. In this decade, 5 million people falling from the middle class back into poverty, the American nightmare. In that decade, family incomes, median family incomes rose $7,500, and all racial groups and ethnic groups participated equally. The incomes of the bottom 20% of American earners in percentage terms increased more than the top 5%. We were growing together. In this decade, median incomes have declined $1,000 after inflation. 90% of the benefits have gone to the top 10% of earners, almost half of that to the top 1%, a big part of that to the top 1/10 of 1%. This is not working. And now you have the home mortgage meltdown. So you ought to vote for Hillary because she's got the best plan to turn the economy around and allow us all to grow together again. First of all, she knows and has said that the only rich countries in the world that are growing jobs and building their middle class are those that have made a simple commitment we have walked away from. a commitment to energy independence through clean energy, homegrown energy, and energy efficiency will create millions and millions and millions of jobs. Her plan would take about $50 million in special subsidies away from interest groups and put it into a strategic energy fund to make America energy independent. Just think of it. If we grow our own biofuels, we can grow them in every state in the country. If we had a hybrid electric car that got 100 miles a gallon, which we're very close to, there are 12 of them being driven today, all we need is the research necessary to make those batteries affordable for all Americans. If we beat everybody to the moon, we ought to be able to beat everybody to a battery, don't you think? And once you get, let me just tell you something, once you get a 100 mile a gallon car, and that's a car that runs on electricity to 50 miles a gallon, 50 miles an hour, then goes into fuel. It could be biofuels made in Mississippi. Then you will not care if oil is $100 a barrel or $200 or $300 a barrel. You say, you keep your oil, we'll keep our $300 billion. We'll invest it in America, American jobs, and America's future. And the largest number of jobs you can create in Mississippi overnight is if Hillary's plan to make every building in this country as energy efficient as possible is passed. You start with the schools, the colleges, the hospitals, the public buildings, every government building, eventually going to all the homes that will create millions of jobs. And my foundation works on this. I was just in Houston. We were in the Texas primary. We work in Houston, where the mayor of Houston adopted this strategy, and he started in the poorest neighborhoods. And he got the poorest people in Houston an average reduction in their utility bill of 20%. Can you think of what that means to people? So they reduced the utility bills, created jobs, doing the efficiency work, and fought global warming all at the same time, and improved our national security.